imaging myself. Wow. We're so ready and professional today. Don't say anything, some grumpy moon. I'm going to let Roy pick my chapstick
again.
Today. Yeah. You know what? I just dig it because why not?
We're down
I'm too
deep dark in the
indecisive,
deep dark recesses
especially today.
Of the...
Ooh, we're going tipsy, which is what I'd really like to be when I deal with Roy, but I'm not. Anyways, it's like a clear, and then it tints into a brighter pink. It's really nice. It's a very great spring color. And then I want my my awesome producer, Jesse, to flash up this photo of this wacky makeup trend that was going around that I think Roy would really identify with and like. Whenever he's ready, go ahead and flash it up. It is nose hair extensions, a hot beauty trend, or is it a viral joke? I would say it was a hot beauty trend for a minute. I mean, look at those bad boys.
Oh yeah, I would just, yeah, I'd be thinking, oh yeah, I want some of that when I see a chick walking down the street with hair coming out of her nose like that.
Ain't nothing getting in there. Those annoying little pesky gnats that seem to fly around during summertime, they ain't got no chance. Anyways.
Is that the new coronavirus filters for your nose?
Hey, I mean, you want to close beauty shops, people. What do you expect? Men, get the nose clippers out. Your women need it.
Wow.
I know.
See, I got to admit, I pick out some pretty good shades of lipstick.
You reached into my purse and grabbed.
Well.
Congratulations. You're a god.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I have a feeling that's going to be nonstop today.
I really want to bedazzle it. I got to decorate it.
Why am I not doing it? Is the music playing? Again. For some reason. I am not hearing anything on my deal. Anyway, I'm going to introduce the show because we're on live at 5 as we do every day.
That's probably a good start.
On that, and we'll see if we can fix the gremlins in the unit here. But because I got a green light on, and I don't know why I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing a darn thing.
Sometimes these things just don't seem to like you.
No,
my stuff always works fine.
Yes,
it just doesn't.
As I'm doing that, maybe they all readjusted themselves. Well, on Live at 5, as we do every Monday through Friday, we're kicking off a Manic Monday.
We should really practice this.
On that.
What?
You just can't.
All my days
You're already
of the week.
prepared. You're ready with the beating stick.
I am, because today I just feel like I need to hit something.
Lucky me today.
All my days are just kind of just mushing together. I don't even know. I mean, what month are we in?
Isn't this June?
I thought it was July.
Well, yeah, but the weather's hot enough for that. It's supposed to be getting hotter up in the mid to upper 90s in the inland valleys. I think hitting over 100 in the low deserts on Wednesday and Thursday. The temperature's going to be peaking. Great day for going out and living it up and doing that, but you can't do that in Southern California, Central California, or Northern California because your daddy, Gavin Newsom, has you locked down
Daddy.
On that. Yes. The one who's treating us all 40 million of us California residents, as 3-year-olds that we don't know what to do. We have to be told each and every day what, how, why we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and this, and you can't do this, and you can't do that, and well, if I determine that there's too many people at the beach, I'm going to close it down, and all that. I think Newport Beach and Dana Point are still suing on the on that.
Good for them.
Laguna Beach and the others are kind of knuckling under to this whole enchilada, but. We had and we'll get into that a little bit later. I want to see if I can get my sound system working on my end working here.
He won't.
But we had a couple stories that were up on the docket. One, kind of sad note, but on that, Don Shula, the winningest coach in the NFL. Did you know that?
Yes. He took Miami Dolphins to 2 Super Bowls.
Correct. He also lost 4 of them. I think 3 other Marv Levy,
I was just proud
Bud
that
Grant,
I knew that.
and one other have lost 4 Super Bowls. He was 2-4 in Super Bowls in that. But I remember Don Shula from back in the 70s with the kick and the zonk. The 2 running backs on that. Bob Greasy is a quarterback on that. And that was the 17-0 team in that went undefeated in 1972.
I knew that too.
That was great team, great coach. He coached 33 years, lived a hearty life to 90 years old.
I know. Good for him.
I mean,
that's a long full life.
Yes, you can't. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well,
it's always sad to see a loved one go, but
Yes.
at least he had 90 years here. I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
If it was put in front of you right now, if you had 90 years guaranteed, would you take it?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
That's a pretty good bet now because the life expectancy is 79 in the U.S. right now.
Okay, so see, you were positive, and then you brought it back down
Well,
to
no,
negative.
that's a positive because you're guaranteed 11.
Fix you. Fix.
You're just looking for an excuse to use that.
We were talking before the show. Sometimes when you hit things, it fixes. You won't fix.
That's
Sorry, Ann, I'm beating your son again.
That's probably very true.
See, now you're making your mom mad at me again. He told me to do it.
Well, no, Ann could probably tell you a lot of stories about that and Pop of how I'm not fixable anyway on the whole enchilada. That's probably a mute point at this juncture of the game. But we have a lot of fun anyway.
We
with
do.
That. We want to.
Well, I wouldn't fix you anyways, even if I could.
Thanks. Then you just want to beat me with the stick.
Yeah, I feel like our viewers like it. I
They
get
probably
personal messages.
Yes, they're probably very jealous of
I do.
you.
I get personal messages sometimes.
Yes,
where they're like, can you just
do-
hit them a couple more times for
Yes,
me? So
can we?
I mean-
Maybe we ought to raffle off of somewhere of beat Roy with a stick or something for charity or something.
that's a good idea. I want to do it though.
The other story that I wanted to cover on that was coming up on the line. Oh, yeah, we heard about the killer bees that were, coming up from Venezuela or Brazil or something a few years ago. You remember that
Right.
story of that? And everybody was all panicked. Oh, another thing. Oh, we're all going to die. The bees are going to kill us all. And there was no that. And we had that big swarm that looked like halfway across the United States.
Yeah.
It was going across. I don't know if that was killer bees or what. I think it was, but maybe not. But
Yeah, no, I think it was.
and
hornets or
everybody
something?
was that. Well, that's not the heck of it. The killer bees are those guys are like tiddlywinks compared to what's coming now.
Tiddlywinks? What the hell's a tiddlywink?
Yes. Well, you got to be back in the day. That's
Oh
one
my
of the
gosh, I'm so stealing that.
No,
if I remember.
start page. That's a new thing. Duck or start page. We're going to try and not mention that other company that
Okay.
has a kind of famous search engine. We're going to go with the yes. We're going to go with it. Give that company deserves a belch.
I don't know who you're talking about. I was laughing at
No,
something.
that's good. See, it's already working.
I wasn't even listening to you, to be honest. I probably should have meant that on there. But Mark writes in, I think we need to be more worried about women coming out of quarantine before hornets. I think you knew where you were going with that. It was funny.
Well, yeah,
Funny comment, Mark.
especially if you're sitting one next to one with a beating stick.
God, I'm in a grumpy mood today,
Who likes to use
I'm not
it
going to lie.
regularly.
I'm like,
But no, you got to watch out for the
shut up.
murdering hornets
Now I'm dropping stuff.
coming up.
Okay, but why would you name a thing murdering hornets?
Well, that's what they're calling them.
I know, but why?
I guess they're very.
Why can't
they're
it be
big,
like-
They're about 2 inches long. We got a video. We got 2 videos of them
Why can't they be like the love bug or like
because they're very mean and
joyful
aggressive.
hornets?
They're like angry. They're like angry boxers getting ready to go out there and do battle. In the squared circle of that. No, I guess these hornets are very aggressive. They're very mean, and I guess their sting would make you think like a wasp sting was a walk in the park. I guess.
Oh, really?
Yes, and one thing too is and I'm imagining the venom is very, very, very powerful. So again, if your kid, I would imagine the danger in this is around kids because
But does it really kill anybody?
I don't know if it's a killer, but they can.
It does kill. Like if you get
As-
multiple. I mean, I know
yeah.
a bee can kill. Or
Well, yeah, enough
certain
multiple stings.
ones
That's
can
why I
kill
say,
you.
especially around kids or stuff.
But what a
because
scary name. I mean,
because they're smaller and it goes through their system.
you're gonna make us watch this video?
Yes.
Is it? Do we need to give a disclaimer before we roll it?
No, this one. No, they're both. They're not
both
that
clean?
bad. First one's from KCRA Channel 3. On that, give that a roll. This is a little short
What about
one.
people that don't like insects like me?
Explaining that. Let it roll.
Isn't enough for all of us to deal with.
Scary.
There are now reports of deadly hornets in parts of the U.S. They can be as big as 2 inches, and they're called murder hornets. The New York Times reports researchers are worried that they're colonizing. Now, they can kill people and wipe out entire honeybee colonies. Some describe the sting as feeling like hot metal inside their skin. Oh.
There you go. As I'm changing my earbuds to see if I can hear. So yes, oh yeah, that did the trick there. As everything's tangled up, though. There was have video too. Ready.
So they kill honeybees?
Yes, that's the
We're
big
on
thing they're
Jolie.
worried about is it killing off the honeybees from pollinating the crops and stuff from going on across the air. But no, it's absolutely that. And on top of that, they're very aggressive. They're worried about you getting in contact. The sting, I guess, absolutely is a killer on that. Plus, we have a save the bees. Yes, yes, because if the bees are not pollinating all the fruit trees and everything else, our ecological system of food supply goes swirling
It's
right
really
down the drain.
a couple years ago, Cheerios, the cereal brand Cheerios. If you went
Is there
online,
another thing that's called Cheerios? I'm just wondering.
I want to say Cheerio to you in a minute.
Well, see,
Anyways, wow. Anyways, if you went online, you can order seeds, and they mailed you free seeds that bees like to bring back the honeybees.
there you go.
It was cool.
Now,
these damn
mind
hornets are going to
you,
come out and
I'm sitting with two of the people who are deathly afraid of bees.
Jesse, you're scared of bees?
Yeah, look at how he was freaking out the other day when
That was a fly, by the way.
of that. Yes, they're doing that. So now that I can actually hear what's going on, this is how aggressive they are. They actually, these murderous hornets will actually get, they'll start their own boxing and wrestling matches, killing each other off. So roll the video from the Smithsonian. This is from the Smithsonian Institute on how the killer bees even turn on themselves. Killer hornets.
On their own kind. It's like on like. Giant on giant. Claws, stingers, and mandibles. All weapons deployed.
See? Cut his head off.
Disabling the enemy.
Oh my
is the
goodness.
primary strategy.
There you go. There's and I mean, yeah, you saw
That was violent.
The killer, the killer hornets. I mean, he cut his partner's head off just like that. I'm glad you don't have the instruments to do that today, because I would probably be off with my head today.
I can come up with something, but wow.
Yes,
That's
and like I say, they say that the sting on those
I'm
things
scared now.
are absolutely.
so. Where are these bees located, or hornets?
I guess they're
Where are they
coming
coming
up.
from?
I guess they're coming up from here. Are they coming up out of Brazil? I think out of Central America is where they're where they're originating from. No, where are they coming up from? Asia. Oh, Asia. Oh, another one
Seriously?
from the Chinese. Oh, so we can blame this on the Chinese too.
No.
Well,
The link is in the comment section if you guys want to click on that and do a little research yourself.
There you go. But I thought that was something to break the. That's probably the number one hot story besides what going on today.
Well, I'm sure
is
they're
the
probably blaming that this was like
attack of the murderers.
from the coronavirus.
Yes. Well, yeah. I guess if they came from Asia, maybe this is the second piece in their.
Maybe they
in their
created
attack.
this hornet
Yes.
to come after. No, I'm
There
gonna
you
stop
go. They
now.
created it in a lab.
I
a
stopped
biolab
myself.
in Wuhan, China, created the murderous hornets that are going to. No, well, don't let
They
the
could all
facts get
be
in the way of a
robots,
good
though.
story.
They could all be robots. Sent here. Hey, Doris. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes. Again,
Yeah, Mom.
Yeah, like I say, don't
Or
let the
Susan from River
facts
Valley, I mean.
get in the way of a good story, man.
Way to go,
How
Jess.
can we do? We're here to have. We're not even talking about what
Thank goodness.
what we should probably
Why?
finally come to address.
I don't want to. Let's go back to the hair nose extensions.
Okay.
For all of those that aren't on our YouTube channel, I've expanded Makeup with Stephanie. You need to go on there, like it, follow it, share it, spread it.
Yes.
Because now
The-
we're just throwing up
the-
some wacky stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, so those are probably the best segments of the day. Makeup with Stephanie.
Yeah, definitely. No
And
one's
you-
ever bored.
And you can only get them on YouTube, i.e. Newswire, on YouTube. So that's our exclusive. That for your incentive to go over there and check those out because they are absolutely entertaining, fun, and hilarious.
And you know what? It is Teacher Appreciation Week. So make sure you appreciate your teachers all week long. Or your real ones. Because
Well, yeah, since
I quit.
since we have since we just created like 100 million new teachers in the United States over this whole COVID-19 fiasco. Update for the day, like I said, your daddy, Gavin Newsom, who's treating
Stop calling him daddy.
so well, that's what
offensive.
he's acting like. Like he's acting like he's dad, and we're all 3-year-olds. You can't do this. You can't go out. You can't have a cookie. And that's what I'm saying today. Well, if you really obey and good, we might give you a little bit of a quarter of a cookie. We're going to allow drive up pickup at toy stores, florists, sporting goods stores, and bookstores. Wow. Which is kind of a little bit of a turnaround because he said, well, phase 2 is not going to start for weeks, if not months, yada, yada, yada. Well, it's only been a week of that. This is a positive to take that. He's feeling the heat from all of us that are saying, not no, but hell no with this stuff. We're not going to go, we cannot, from all sorts of aspects, just from the mental, economic aspect of this, we cannot take this. On top of that, we put links. We have a premiere going on IEN Newswire that's going to go at 7 o'clock. We're going to put another set of links and information and studies for the Board of Supervisors at Riverside County because this is very important. They're going to vote to roll back the draconian, onerous measures that our Riverside County Health Department Chief, Dr. Cameron Kaiser, extended the over and above restrictions that orders that Gavin Newsom has put on. They're not laws or restrictions, they're just orders, and we can debate whether they're legal or not or binding. But they're going to be voting on that tomorrow at about 9:30 or so at the Riverside County Board of Supervisors. So I've been putting links in. I'll be putting some more, and I'll be putting another video cast on to send to the Board of Supervisors after the Gavin Newsom stuff. He said one of the things, and it's kind of unclear, he said he would roll it out Thursday, but he said the County Board of Supervisors, if they certify it themselves, could actually in the Phase 2 program go a little bit further if they're meeting this criteria and that on and on. So I got a communication back from one of the staffers at Karen Spiegel's. She's the county supervisor, District 2, I think, which is like Corona, the east end of Riverside, like that. We're going with the, at least for right now, we're going with the governor's recommendations, yada, yada, yada. So he's saying at a minimum. And they should be calling a special session on Friday morning after Gavin Newsom, because he said, we're going to allow the counties to self-determine this on Friday. So they should have all their ducks in a row, all their studies, and at a minimum, I'm saying as a minimum, and I mean, I would just barely crack a little bit of a smile if they did this. We should push every one of those to the limit. Open everything up. We certify that we're doing X, Y, and Z, yada, yada, yada. We're going for the max on whatever this new deal is coming out on Friday. Furthermore, I'm putting the links to the studies and everything showing, tell me where social distancing's working. When we've cited all the examples, tell me where the masks are working when we have little if no evidence that they're, at best, they're barely effective, cloth masks, or detrimental. So, I mean, if you want to split the middle,
and
they're not
anyone that
effective at all.
hasn't seen, there's a lot of YouTube videos if you go and search masks where people show you, they spray things through it.
Yeah.
So it gives you a good example as to why the masks aren't really helpful. Because some people do take offense when you say the masks are a waste.
Well,
I mean, I can see where people get offended, but I urge people to go onto YouTube, search it on Google or something, and watch a video.
Or go to Newswire and follow all the links where we have them listed of how all the studies that have been on going back almost 10 years. So this is not a new thing. They've looked at this stuff, and there isn't an expert yet that has said that they are effective, that has tested it or looked at the tests. So why are we doing it? That's why Fauci said back in February, cloth masks are ineffective. You shouldn't be wearing them. In fact, with you breathing into them and stuff, that for two things, that might give you a false sense of security, or all that stuff is on the mask. You pull it off with your hands. Now, if you are infected, you got that and you're spreading it, yada, yada, yada. So there is a lot of evidence of that, and social distancing of that. Tell me where it's effective. Tell me where the difference between Sweden and the United States. Death rate in Sweden per 100,000 is 26. In the United States, it's 20. Sweden has hardly done any draconian measures. We've done all these lockdowns. We're at the same pace when you compare apples to apples. So Trump or whatever, I don't know what you're talking about, or when you're trying to allude to the Swedish example and their deaths are exploding, they ain't exploding any more than ours. And then some of this talk that's coming out that the deaths are going to start increasing and the curve's going up and yada, yada, yada.
Weren't we already at our peak like 12 times?
Yes.
The last however many. How long have we been on lockdown for?
So, since March 19th.
I knew that.
We're going on 6 weeks of this crap.
That's crazy.
It's stupid.
That too. I still appreciate them trying to do something different, but I think now we've tried, we explored. Now let's open
and I think, and I really do. I think we're in a case of.
But then what's going to happen when flu season comes up,
or
when it comes back again?
Well, yeah, that's
what
they're saying is it might die down, but then it's going to probably come back in September when flu season comes up. But this is what it...
And then are we going to go on lockdown again?
Well, that's what...
Can I move?
Exactly.
Should I just move to a jungle and be
that's what I'm thinking. I mean, Costa
house.
Rica or something like that is looking pretty good right now. If this is what the new normal is going to be. But here's what I think. I think we're in a dichotomy of this, is they can't admit they were wrong.
Yeah. And, I mean, when they do go back and admit they were wrong, so many businesses have closed. I mean, a few major ones have filed for bankruptcy. It's, I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of it. Their ego will not allow them to admit they were wrong.
And how many people are going to be pissed off once they do admit that they were wrong? I mean, you can't even admit when you're wrong on your radio show, and that's just like our 3 viewers.
When is the documentation that I was wrong?
I'll get you one day, buddy.
Jesse, when I say something, can you cash that check in any bank in the world? No comment. Because you.
I'm just saying.
No, but I really do. I think
you're onto something with that. I do. I agree with you a little bit. Anyways, shut up with that ding.
Boy, that really pains you, doesn't
it? It did. This is me. He's always right.
There you go.
It's freaking maddening. Ugh. Anyways. But one day, when you're wrong,
Oh God,
you'll have a hard time admitting to it.
You will.
So I do think you're onto something with that, though, because a lot of people are hurt from all of this going on, and can they give a true answer as to why this is happening?
Yes, that's what we're looking at.
I know.
And I really do. I think it, and a lot of this, and probably 80% of that, what is Mario Cuomo, Gavin Newsom, Dr. Cameron Kaiser? Are they going to say, well, it didn't happen. It didn't even happen anywhere close to what we had. Our hospitals were not overrun. We're the freaking United States of America. We've got resources up the wazoo. I mean, we can handle almost anything. I mean, they built a 2,500 bed hospital and 3 more in 3 days in New York.
Right.
I mean, the military came in, their ships coming in. They built one up in Seattle where they thought this was going good. They tore it down 3 days later because it was not needed. The one, how many people are in the Mercy ship out there in Long Beach? Probably 3. This whole scare tactic and stuff, and now they're so...
But then maybe they were just legitly scared. I mean, the way that they pitched this, though, it was scary. It really was. I mean, they acted like you get it and you're screwed.
Well, would y'all...
I'm just saying.
Would you all quit electing men who act like women to lead our country?
Let's elect some women that act like men.
I would go for that. Put a Margaret Thatcher in. I've said if you put a Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady who was Prime Minister of England when Ronald Reagan was in, you run someone like that as president.
1 minute.
I will be totally on board because she was like that. She didn't take no crap from nobody, and had the freedom and liberty and individual you determine what you're ultimately determine what's good for you, and the government stays out of it. She made the best statement. Socialism is great until you run out of other people's money, and there's been no statement
30 seconds
that's ever been truer than that. So
she had more cojones than most men.
There you go. That went out over the air, That was Sean, our engineer on
Mark wrote in saying there was a mouse running up the wall behind us. I think he was messing with me, though, but now I'm freaking out.
Well, it could be.
Oh, that too.
What?
Nothing. Here we go, guys.
Wow.
.com and download your free phone app today.
We're good.
Newswire Daily is on the air.
Jesse, don't even.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Here we are on Newswire Daily on KMET as we roll in every Monday through Friday at 5:30 on that, and we even got a special guest, Minnie the Mouse, is running around up
No. I'll get back. I'll go back to Mark's comment because his was good, but intro us in and then we'll touch on that.
Of that, we're on actually, what is today?
Manic Monday.
On that, we got all sorts of good stuff coming up on the show here. We're going to be talking about, we talked about the murderous hornets that are coming in from Asia that are killing all the bees, and these guys are actually tough. I mean, we showed the video of that, of them where they actually start fighting with each other and they're cutting each other's heads off. But they are very dangerous, very poisonous. If they do start to bite you, their venom is very bad, and their sting, I guess, is just absolutely killer. You will be begging for a wasp sting if you get hit by these murderous hornets. But even the more dangerous, they're a big threat to our honeybee population. They hunt and prey them down. So that's another thing we got to look forward to as we get into all the stuff that's in on that. As we said at the top of the show, Riverside County Board of Supervisors is coming up. The meeting tomorrow at 9:30. They're going to discuss rolling back the onerous measures of Dr. Cameron Kaiser of the lockdown. Gavin Newsom is letting us have a small quarter of a cookie, saying you can go to drive up at the toy store, Flora, Sporting Goods, and a couple other stores, but no offices, no shopping malls, no anything else. No in-house dining at the restaurants or none of that will be allowed. But he did put a caveat that counties could certify in some other stuff. If they certify they're complying with this, and open up some more stuff under phase 2. So we'll have more of that. Hopefully we'll have Supervisor Jeff Hewitt on later on in the week after the hearing tomorrow on that. So we'll see what all this transpires out. But if you're tired of this, especially if you're in Riverside County, make every effort to be down at the Riverside County Board of Supervisors at 9 o'clock, and that demand to be let in, demand that all this stuff stop immediately. We have links on IE Newswire with studies and stuff saying all this stuff is bull crap of Bolshevik, as Dr. Steve Hotze
I like that word.
Came up with on our show on last Monday. And stop it. The evidence is overwhelmingly clear. And we were talking about it a little bit before we came on, but yet those of you that are joining us now on KMET, and me and Stephanie were talking about it. And my theory is now a lot of these politicians like Newsom, Cuomo, Dr. Kaiser are just now don't want to admit they were wrong about all this stuff, and they're so invested in what they did, they can't admit, we really blew this one. What can we do to make it up? We're going to, start reversing course on all this stuff. We're going to start getting back the way it was before March 19th when California kicked off these ridiculous stay-at-home orders. It's going on for more than 6 weeks. You can only carry it for a maximum of 2 weeks, 14 days of COVID-19, and that's a maximum. The average is like 5 days before you get, and once you have it, before you get symptoms. But the maximum is 14 days. Now we're going, 3 times more than that? And none of the apocalypse, everybody's going to die. This is the coming of the Spanish flu, Hong Kong flu, the plague, all rolled into one. All this have never even come close, not even an infinitesimal percentage of happening on this. Go ahead.
Like I was saying before we got on to KMET, I think that they were legit. I think there was a lot of fear because they did build it up, like you said, to the apocalypse and this huge plague that was going to happen. So one of our viewers Mark wrote in, there's a mouse climbing up the wall behind you. So those that are watching on the live stream probably saw me freaking out as the engineer and producer and Roy started messing with me a little bit more. Anyways, Mark's whole point was that's an example of scaring. I was showing them how easy it is to believe because I was like, yeah. But I'm a wimp anyways, so well, I mean,
again, yes.
But that was a great point, Mark, and I appreciate you terrifying me into being an example. I mean, it's cool. I don't know you, but I probably never will now. Anyways, great example.
It is, and that is an exact example of what we're talking about. And this is what they have done to us with the charts, with the million people. 2.4 million people could have died. 1 million in California.
Exactly.
On and on.
Especially like the pregnant mothers and the mothers with little children. I mean, you always want to protect your kids. I don't know how many parents and mothers I know that are like not allowing their kids to come out, and I mean it's scary.
It's like the studies of that. Nobody. I don't think there's anybody anywhere under the age of 18 that's died. A few of them have got it.
Right.
1 or 2 across the whole 7 billion population of the world have gotten sick. And it happened to be, ironically, a Colorado mom who's a doctor and said, I did everything right, sheltered in place, and my kid got in the hospital with this stuff. How did this happen? Well, because we're not developing herd immunity and all this stuff. Like we've had the doctors from Stanford, and you can go to the links, all of them, and that's why I put them in there, because now we have to be armed with information on that. There is no reason to be fearful of this. The thing to be fearful of is we continue on this lockdown stupid policy. We don't develop herd immunity, and it does come back, it mutates into a stronger virus, and then when we come back in September, we might really have a problem with it or something because we're not knocking it out.
Not to mention all the, those local businesses that'll be shut down, and even major businesses. I mean, still make sure you go out and support them because they're hurting a lot right now too.
Yes, everybody is in this whole enchilada, and we're going to bring on The owner and proprietor of Toyota San Bernardino, Subaru San Bernardino, and I-10 Toyota down in the lower desert, and as you can see,
and maybe one or two more shortly.
Yes. Oh, you're getting. Well, we're getting new dealerships coming in the
We're working on it.
Wow. In the Cummings vast empire of, are you gonna be the king of the Inland Empire dealers here pretty soon?
I don't think that'll ever happen. It's too visible.
But well, we look forward to the announcement though of expanding dealerships in the Cliff Cummings Auto Empire.
Yeah, we're down to actually with all these cones of silence and non-disclosures and all this other. I can't talk a hell of a lot about it, but on one of them, we're one question away from saying yes. And it's a futures play a little bit, but we're getting close. We'll see. And I'm looking forward to it. You know, if we can get another challenge going and put some people to work, I'm a happy boy.
And boy, do we need that. I don't know. I'm sure you probably heard Gavin Newsom's announcement today on that. Well, we're going to throw you a little bit of cookie. You can go to the toy store now, sporting goods florist, and drive up and pick up on that. Of that, what's your take on this little caveat, which he said was coming in weeks, but I think he's feeling the heat because now it's 1 week later and we're actually starting to get a slight amount of movement from the governor.
Well, I think the governor's moving because the pressure from the population is forcing that movement and from the feds. I mean, if you're Donald Trump or you're Barr and you go to him and say, hey, get this thing open or you're not getting any more money from us, what do you think he's going to do? Number one. Number two, people are out. A buddy of mine was at Newport Beach this weekend. They were everywhere, and the cops weren't doing anything. They were just watching. So now, L.A., that's different. Okay, that's different. But Garcetti is going to collapse and start allowing things to open up within literally 2 days is my prediction. So because they're getting crunched like you can't believe on tax revenue, job loss. And there's two things that are happening that I think are very, very noteworthy. Number one, you're developing an underground economy. So you want to get a haircut? You know where to get your haircut. Right? You want to go get a manicure you know where to get that. And then they're buying little trucks and coming around to the houses. It's all cash. So all of a sudden, all of that income tax on top of the sales tax starts not coming back. And here's the second ugly part of this, is big companies who have laid off a lot of people, two things are happening there. One, they're suddenly realizing they don't need that many people. That's one. Two, those people who got laid off in California are going to move in even greater numbers to Arizona. Okay, Nevada's going to open up pretty soon, but they got a wacko governor there too. But they're going to go to Texas. They're going to go to places where Florida, Georgia, where they can go work. All right, that's another thing. So with them goes not only their savings, it goes their talent goes, their spending habits go, and what do you backfill it with? God knows what at this point. But I think the big deal is that companies are figuring out they don't need this many people. Now, here's another thing. I don't know if you ever remember from submarines called hot bunking, but what that is you use the bunk and you're on shift and you go on duty and then your bunk is a hot bunk that somebody else uses. Well, that's what's happening in offices in L.A. You're going to work Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week, 2 week, Tuesday, Thursday next week. Somebody's going to use your desk on the opposite days. It's like A week, B week in college. So now they need less space, less office space in L.A. So they're going to cut their rentals, which is going to cut revenue, which is going to devalue property, which is going to take down the sales or the property tax base, which then takes down even more revenue. And you've got the homeless all over the place that they can't do anything about anyway. So, or won't. Let's just go with won't do anything about anyway. So now property values drop. So they've got this thing. Garcetti, Newsom, You can go to Michigan already. You saw what they're doing in Michigan with this governor. They've already overrode her. It is astounding how completely nonsensical the thinking is in this. Is there risk? Yeah. But give the person who doesn't want to take the risk 65, 70 years, 80 years, and get them out of – don't have them go out there. That's fine. That's their call. But don't make it a forced call by a dictatorship. And the other thing that's happening is with all the lawsuits that got filed Friday and today, they're not defensible. So the state is going to get hammered. Okay, they're going to get hammered. And that's another fear factor that's going in the state government, because they are in an indefensible position on constitutional rights and the abuse of power. And I think that the lawyers who have got this are going to go right for the throat, and I think they're going to win. So now you've got uneven application of the law, because you've got places that are wide open all the time, never made a move, and nothing happened to them. And the guys who shut down are losing $1 million, $2, $3, $4, $5 million a month. Your turn. I'm out of breath.
Yes, it is. It kind of, yeah. I know exactly the feeling. Me and Stephanie were talking about this before you came on, but and it's my feeling, and I think Stephanie concurs. You know, these politicians from Newsom, Cuomo, Dr. Cameron Kaiser, the health official, Garcetti, they're so invested in this now. They're afraid to admit they were wrong and they missed this whole thing, and now they don't know what to do because. They know the backlash of this, and as we probably think it's going to come to, and the evidence is showing, they're in for a rough ride when it's been showing that this was unwarranted. They've killed the economy. Now they don't want to turn loose of it. What do you think of that?
Well, I think you're right. I mean, what's a politician's job? Duck and cover, right? So they're going to sit there and go that route. But, there's a report out, and I'm looking for it now. I just jumped online, where a group, and I'm trying to find it, said that the real death count at the most is around 34,000. Okay, the rest of this stuff, and the doctors, if you ask an honest doctor in an ER, he'll tell you that they are marking, and I just heard it today, by the way, they are marking deaths as COVID, and they're getting 3 to 4 to 1 from the feds in funding. And they have to make up the difference in the ERs that are empty because they closed them because they were afraid that people might come in and get sick.
It's astounding.
Unbelievable.
Yes, it's astounding what, the destruction that they're doing with this. And I mean, I kind of get the, like you say, politicians are duck and cover on this stuff. But what, at some point, even if Newsom come up there, I'd even be, at least I would appreciate it if you come up there. You know what? I just freaking blew this whole thing. But
now they're in too deep to do that.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that now. You know how many people?
Now,
no.
I'll tell you the guy who'd do it. There's only one guy out there that I can think of, and you can jump in if you want, is Trump.
That's what I was going to say. Trump would be the only one. Well, he's been trying to telegraph a lot of this stuff. I think he's been playing like both sides of the fence on this thing. He hasn't been, I just say and I call him the New York, California Siamese twins governors. Cuomo and Newsom have been the ones putting this fear campaign out 100%, like the Armageddon's coming. Cuomo had a little bit of it because New York City, but that's a special case. Again, I think Trump with his reopening, his town hall Sunday of that, and kind of laying a low profile and saying letting the governor's gun, Ron DeSantis in Florida, Georgia Brian Kemp, Texas Greg Abbott and stuff. Even though their cases are going up is nothing. Deaths are decreasing. The 3-day averages are decreasing. We've hit our peaks in most places in the United States and California. Let's go. We're ready to go. Admit maybe we made a mistake, or this is what we're going to do to rectify it.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, you can look at and say, you know what, I'm going to post this. It just came up. It's out there where you look at Sweden's counts versus other, and of course Sweden only has been testing people who died. They haven't done widespread testing. And if they do, they're going to end up at about 0.5 half of 1%. So that's where I think you're going to end up seeing it, give or take a tenth. And these guys who are the backlash is what worries me. Okay, it really worries me that people are going to go absolutely bat crazy here if this keeps going on, and people keep getting more and more and more angry at the government in the states, plural states, and even the feds to an extent. I mean, you've got Nancy Pelosi has called to extend their recess. And it's not because she's worried. It's 100% political. All right, they think they're winning this battle, and I don't think they are. And you're going to find out if Mike Garcia gets elected in the special election here in 2 weeks. Then you're going to see the Democrats in full flipping retreat because they're going to be losing special elections. There's one in New Jersey. There's two in California. I think there's one in Arizona. If they lose those, and they lost the last one, then watch them run. And it's a shame to have to govern like that. We need new people in there with a much, much broader peripheral vision, much wider vision than what we've got, because all these guys are a bunch of lemmings, and unfortunately the lemmings are dragging California off the cliff.
Well, kind of a segue into your own name, but we have the links, and we have many links of studies and everything else, but we have the one from John Hopkins' study. Deaths per 100,000 in Sweden, 26. United States, 20 per 100,000. That's statistically no difference in that. Sweden has not put in these draconian measures, not cut down their economy. No difference, just going with the Israeli professor that says this has the same 70-day cycle up and down and back down no matter what you do. Lockdowns, no lockdowns, or anything in between. So, again, like I say, I just think they cannot admit they were wrong on this. They were putting a fear campaign out, and I think they're really afraid once that happens, the natives will be coming after them with pitchforks and torches.
Sure. Yeah, and Newsom said in your opening, Newsom said that some restaurants can open in some communities. They're leaving it to more local control. So that's the beginning of duck and cover. All right? Hey, I told them not to. That's up to them. They can do it.
Right.
And you saw what happened in Newport Beach, I think it was, where the one place open, it was a mob scene, and everybody was having a good time, one of the restaurants on the beach. He is now in retreat. Now, when it becomes full-fledged, how fast can I run backwards? We'll know that in the next, I'd say, 10 days or sooner. And it's a shame because there's a market out there, and you're starting to reach that tipping point. We've talked about this, where people are leaving, people are working underground. They got to eat, and they're going to work, and they're going to work somehow for something. Okay, so they're either going to leave and go to work, or if they get a chance to do it, shade tree, that was an East Coast term. I don't know if you had it on the West Coast. They'll do it, which is just on the side. So, and that is in a way good for them. Sad. It's sad, and it's bad, really bad, for the rest of the population who are working their butts off trying to get through this and paying way too many taxes in this state.
Side job is the West Coast term.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Side job?
Side job is the West Coast term.
Okay.
Of that. So,
in Italy, it's 20 hours a week and 20 hours, 20 for the gov and 20 for yourself.
Yes.
So,
Italians just do it better. Don't laugh at that.
It's really very sad, but we'll see. He'll be gauging right now what retail businesses reopen, okay, how far they'll go. I mean, you're looking at bookstores and florists and clothes.
Yeah, drive-up service only of a bookstore.
But at least it's baby steps. I mean, at least it's something.
And this is what I'm saying. At Riverside County, we've got all the links in IE Newswire of all the studies and everything. They're having a deal tomorrow. I'm saying not only that as a minimum, they should be pushing this. Gavin Newsom says counties can certify that they're doing this and move it. I want Riverside County to push it on Friday and be set up ready to go to be pushing it to the limit, if not challenging them, like Mark Mosier has said, constitutional attorney has said. These orders are, in case precedents don't hold up to water, start challenging it, open up the doors like El Dorado, Del Norte County up north and everything, and let's go for it. Let's get it on. Let's put it in the courts. Gady bar the door.
Well, it's in the courts. It should be taken up on a writ, I would think. We'll see how fast it progresses through there. The ripple effect of that is I'm concerned that I'm concerned in two ways. I'm concerned that if the governor has been found to overreach, et cetera, what the payout's going to be to those people who have been hurt. And then the second concern, how the hell are they going to pay for it? Okay, guess who?
Yes.
And so that's going to drive more moneyed people out of the state and more businesses out of the state. And that's exactly what retailers don't need, restaurants don't need. And as a lot of my restaurant friends have said, what the hell am I going to open up for? I got to keep them 20 feet apart? What are you, nuts?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I can have 20% capacity. Forget about it.
How do you survive in that?
You don't do it. And that's what you do. You move and you go someplace like Arizona where you can open up. And I think that it's...
Well, they're even revolting down there. We didn't get a chance to play the two sheriffs, but Ducey's extending the stuff down there, and three sheriffs have said, we're not enforcing the laws in our county. We're not enforcing that in our county. It's kind of like, okay, if you want to open up, go for it.
See, it's an executive action. I don't think it's a law.
Yeah.
And a lot of Newsom's phraseology just makes it a really strong suggestion all the way through March, and then in April it got a little bit stronger. But they're doing nothing other than making it, in effect, voluntary, because the L.A. guys are enforcing it, and the little county that could just said, yeah, we're not doing that. And there's no repercussions there. And the lady hair salon open 4 days, nothing there. Restaurant, Newport, nothing there. And so people just finally look at the traffic today. I don't know if you had to drive, but
it's
on
coming
my way
back.
to the office, it was much better today, traffic-wise. And I'm sitting here, you and I are sitting here rooting for traffic. Now, come on.
We ever thought that day would come. We got about a minute left. I'll let you wrap it up.
Well, you know what? I think that one of the neat things about being involved in the middle of this is I'm having great conversations with our county people, some of the electeds, Republicans and Democrats. Friends of mine are working with the governor. We have a lot of inroads into the Trump administration at a personal level, and we're making, I think he's the guy who is trying to get all these other folks to wake up and figure it out. And he's going to come out of this smelling like a rose, and I'll still go with Biden will not be the candidate.
I hope you're wrong on that, because that's going to almost
guarantee. I want the guy in there. He's a klutz, right?
Yeah. I mean, that would almost be a 50-state blowout, I think, if Biden's a candidate. But
I will tell you, too, Roy, at Toyota San Bernardino, we put back, I think, 9 people back to work in the last 10 days.
Bravo.
We're putting 3 or 4 more over the next couple of days. And at Subaru, I think we're doing 5. And I'll be at I-10 toward the end of the week. My wife's having a bit of surgery, so I'm going to be out of pocket for the next couple of Wednesday and Thursday. And she'll get her new shoulder and not be in pain. So she'll be in pain, but not that kind of pain. So anyway, so we're putting people back to work. The people are coming out. They're supporting the local businesses. Hey, even if it's buying a hot dog or a hamburger at a drive-thru, just support the locals, because they're supporting the charities. You don't see these big chain houses giving money to the charities. I'm about to give $56,000 from Subaru, my Subaru store and Subaru, up to the Boys and Girls Club, and I'll have the photos out probably tomorrow, because they need it up in the mountain communities. And they've got 4 offices. When we got involved with them, they had one crappy one. Now they got 4 deals going, and those kids need a place to go because mom and dad are at work, hopefully.
Yeah, you got some extra dirt over there at the San Bernardino Auto Mall?
Do I have some extra dirt?
Yeah. Is there extra dirt available over there?
Really?
I got an idea I want to run by you that I talked about with Roger Penske a while
That's his takeaway.
ago. But I think
30 seconds out.
Now might be some of the time to strike. We'll have to work on that. But thanks for being on, Cliff.
But hey, we wish your wife a speedy recovery
of that and everything else. Yes, of all that stuff, and we'll
talk to you on the other side of that, and hopefully we'll get through another week.
You got it.
It'll get better.
Bye, Cliff.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ann, for your support. We appreciate you.
Everybody listening in. And as that music says,
we're gone.